speaking of body bags, the next film that we're going to be talking about is about a ghost. It is specifically from M. Night Shyamalan himself, The Sixth Sense. This was actually his first, I feel like it was his first feature film.
Wasn't it? I think it was.
I believe so. And it was one that gave him some really good clout amongst film fans, and it led to his other films and the rest of his career. I feel like
the rest of his
what happened started here.
You were there.
We were there. So The Sixth Sense is about it's been a while since I've watched it, but it is about this young boy who meets up with this therapist after he's gone through a lot of trauma, and the therapist is played by Bruce Willis. The young boy is played by Haley Joel Osment. They talk about death. They talk about life. Both of them have gone through really tragic pains within their past. I think Bruce Willis lost his wife at the very beginning of I was about to say Unbreakable, at the beginning of Sixth Sense. And I don't even think this is a spoiler anymore. It's the line of the film. It turns out that Bruce Willis is a ghost throughout it. I see dead people. That was the first in the long line of M. Night twists.
Yeah, right.
So Daniel, first establish your feelings on M. Night Shyamalan as a director and his career, and then bring it home to Sixth Sense.
Okay, so you think this is going to be a bashing, but it actually is not.
Oh, I'm waiting. Just start with Signs. How about that? And tell me it won't be a bashing one. Tell me.
And then Lady in the Water?
Oh,
and then After Earth?
The Happening.
Then The Happening? The Happening?
Last Airbender?
Oh, my
goodness. This M. Night. Oh, don't you mean?
Oh, no.
Or no. One Rock?
I knew what I was doing. No, but so as a director, not good. Probably on the lowest low of low.
Oh, Daniel.
Nah, I mean, he has what, 2 good films? 3? You know what I mean?
I think he has a couple good. I think he has. I have not seen The Visit, one of the turning films for him, where it's about these 2 kids going to their grandparents' house, and you realize that there's some messed up stuff going on. I've not watched that. It's been a long time since I've watched Devil. I don't remember loving it, but I know Angel does love it.
I do. I thought it was really good, but he produced it, I believe. I don't know if he wrote it.
I thought he directed it. Here, let me check. Go ahead.
Check. Yeah, I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure he either just produced it or produced it and wrote it or something like that. But I could be wrong. He could have directed it too. I'm not sure.
Let's see. It was directed. No, yeah, he produced it. Directed by John Eric Dowdle.
Okay.
But he did write it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. What's the twist? Yeah. It's the devil.
But that was actually pretty good. It wasn't the twist that got me. I just liked seeing the characters, like how they were feeling in that elevator. You know what I mean? And to me, when you're able to really put the movie in one setting and execute it, even if it's good or not, if you're able to pull off like basically one set, like just a tight enclosed space like that, I feel like that's pretty hard to do, and that deserves a lot of credit, And so I think there's some things that M. Night has been able to do that are amazing. I mean, look at Unbreakable.
That's my favorite of his movies.
Yeah, I mean, Unbreakable is awesome. For me, I'd probably say The Sixth Sense first watch was my favorite film of his. Yeah. And then now that's never going to happen again, because Sixth Sense can never be a first watch ever again.
Never.
So now I think my favorite film of his is probably Unbreakable. I think that's my favorite film of his. But he has a long line of missed, of like not good movies. Lady in the Water, After Earth, the Happening. After Earth had a great trailer. Will Smith, they advertised as Will Smith was in it. Will Smith was never in it. It was like a recording of him, and he was never in it. The movie was so boring.
Well, I thought he was in it at the beginning, where he was like yelling at his son.
Yeah. I don't know. That could have been CGI. It could have been
That was CGI.
CGI. But yeah,
Denied.
It was. I paid for it thinking it was going to be really good.
And Last Airbender. Oof.
Oh my goodness, Last Airbender! What a disappointment! What a disappointment!
I
That was
don't.
one of the disappointments of all time. I mean, everyone was super excited for that one, and then
I don't think that word disappointment, Daniel, has enough syllables to to really express how bad that movie is, dude.
It's really bad.
My God.
And it sucks because that's what I'm trying to say. It's not really that it sucks. Like, oh man, I mean, they made other movies of heroes and stories that aren't that good. Bleach, Death Note, you know what I mean? They've tried to do these animes,
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, and it's just not hitting the mark. But this one is so beloved, and such good and easy. It seems like, I mean, I didn't do it. So
Avatar: Last Airbender.
Yeah. It just seems like with Avatar, there's a lot of source material there to work with. Like, how could you mess up? It seems like it's there, right there on a platter for you. You know what I mean?
I was thinking about earlier this year. I messaged Angel. I said, "Hey, dude, we should do a Who Filmed It Better of Avatar or the Last Airbender and Dragon Ball Evolution," and he just didn't respond for a couple hours until telling me, "Shut up, don't do it again."
Yeah, he probably blocked you.
He blocked me for a day. I think he did, honestly, dude.
Don't talk to me again.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
But aside from that shit, we got The Sixth Sense, which I like that movie, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. It was great. When it came out, I remember I was middle school or ninth grade, something. I don't know. I was in high school, I believe. But I remember watching it and being like, the same as everybody, like, whoa, like coming out thinking about it for a little bit, like, how did I not notice the subtleties, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you watch it again, you love it, and then you're excited for M. Night to do more things, and it didn't really work out,
Yeah, they're calling him the next Spielberg based on that film, Unbreakable, and Signs, I think, was upcoming, but Newsweek, it's infamous. Newsweek had a picture of him in front of those cornfields, and the banner right in front of him was the next Spielberg.
Oh, dude, no.
Well, do you think at the time that idea was very valid? With things like Sixth Sense and Unbreakable,
And even Signs, even though I didn't like Signs, yes, that is valid with Signs. So with those three and having Signs on a catalog, even though I personally didn't like it, calling him or at that time saying he was on track to being the next Spielberg, yeah, that's pretty correct. I mean, if you just look at that three right there, if you look at those three, almost like as a fighter that just had his first three fights. So if you have this director that comes on the scene and he has these first three movies, they're all very different, but they're all very Shyamalan, and that's really cool. That's really cool to do. And they were all pretty good. I mean, I didn't like Signs again.
But you can get where people, connect with it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that he knows that he was able to do that is the sign of a Spielberg, of a good director. When someone says Spielberg, they're just really saying good director, because when you think of the best director of all time, it's probably Spielberg.
Yeah, I think it definitely is him.
So just based on catalog, so volume, catalog, ticket sales. I mean, the dude is just he raised the bar almost not knowingly, and
Spielberg?
Now touchable. Yeah. Because even the other greats that I would put on my top 5 list they have arguably, maybe even better movies, but they'll have 3. You know what I mean? Like three fantastic legendary movies. Spielberg has 10. So yes, he's put out 50, but he has 10 legendary movies, when the best of the best on my top, their whole catalog is 10, and out of those, like 3 or 4 are the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I think Spielberg is just on another class based on volume and the quality of that volume. Like on his bad day, he has The War Horse, You know what I mean? Like that, and people love that. I'm sure there's people that love that. But I didn't, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, certainly not like in ET or whatever,
yeah,
but you know.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, other than there's the Nolans. I'm a Nolanite for sure. Yes, I am a Nolanite. He's on my top five, but it's probably Spielberg and then Nolan. You know what I mean? For me.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
with the Shyamalan and the Sixth
oh yeah,
Sense,
back to Shyamalan.
to that guy,
Twist. We're actually talking about Shyamalan.
well, I feel like the reason I wanted to enter this into the 31 more days of horror, even though it's not really a horror film, it's more of a character study, you know. And I feel like a lot of the best horror films don't even really try to do that. I mean, obviously some of the best do try and they succeed. Like The Shining is definitely a very disturbed horror film that gets you freaked out about certain stuff, but you get a movie like 28 Days Later from Danny Boyle, who didn't even know much about zombies, you know, and he just made a movie from a character's perspective, and he makes this great film. And I feel like that's what happened with The Sixth Sense here. You know, I think that it's a great character study, and Haley Joel Osment is fantastic in it. You know, I mean, it's a really wild performance from someone that young, you know, up there with like Elliot from E.T.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you feel about it? And do you think that it's one of the better films that needs to be considered within the horror category, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a suspense film, but yeah, it's in that horror category. So when you look at something like It, right, and we were talking about that earlier, you know, or earlier we were saying how it's kind of like The Goonies. So it's an adventure story, but there's horror. It's like it's set in a horror, you know, background. So
yeah,
this is a horror. The setting is horror, but yes, it's a character study, and that's actually what Shyamalan can do, right? Or he attempts to do, right? So even
yeah,
something
he can do
like,
it really well.
yeah. So if you look at like Signs, if you look at Unbreakable, these are character studies. You're
Split.
Yeah, Split. Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, that's probably the most like the most characters in a character study that we've had lately, you know?
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, that he's doing that, right? In a lot of his films. Like now thinking about it, Lady in the Water is like that. After Earth is, I hated it, but it's all these like he takes these characters and really wants you to know this character. It's sometimes doesn't always work, but you can tell that's what he really wants you to do, is to like get to know this character.
Yeah.
Like how he wants you to know how this character is going to think, you know what I mean? It's like to be so with this character that you now feel like the unbreakable character, that you now feel what the Split, the Beast or whatever is going through or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like he's good at doing that, you know, but his movies aren't my favorite. He has the superhero, non-comic book superhero movies that I like, the Unbreakable, Split, Glass.
Yeah.
You know, those are cool, even though Glass was probably my least favorite. Sixth Sense is probably a first time watch of Sixth Sense is my favorite Shyamalan film. And I do think that it needs to be considered in horror because it has that unsettling feeling along with jump scares, and there's ghosts. I mean, there's ghosts. It's a horror movie, you know?
Yeah. I feel like within the career of, you know, the later part of M. Night's career, the part of his career that's not looked best on. I feel like a main criticism that people have, including myself, has been that a lot of the ideas kind of get ahead of him, you know, like in The Happening, you know, you have these weird, you know, ideas about life and reality that just don't work. Something happened to where he got lost within those ideas. I'm glad to say that that doesn't happen here in The Sixth Sense. It's very, you know, tight on the kid who Haley Joel Osment plays. You know, it's really about his perception on how to deal with ghost sightings and stuff like that. And you know, it's weird. I wonder how he really got into that. Is it just like he keeps on hearing that type of stuff? The next Spielberg, he's like, oh, well, then my ideas, nothing can be wrong then. You know, nothing can be bad then. You know, so I'll just think of some crazy shit and like The Happening, have a scene where this dude just feeds himself to a tiger, you know? Like, what do you think happened?
I think it's what you said. He's trying to get these like concepts and sound and feel to the viewer that he's intellectual or something. Maybe I could be wrong, but it seems like he's trying to be cerebral,
Right.
and it's just he's missing it. It's not like how when you watch, you know, I'm not getting my science information from Christopher Nolan and Interstellar, but what I'm trying to say is, like, when you watch an Inception, when you watch a Interstellar, like you're saying, you can tell that the concept didn't get away from the director. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or something like Arrival with Denis Villeneuve.
Right. Exactly. Right. The concept didn't go too far from the director where he didn't know what he was doing. The scene is kind of like, you know, no one knows what's happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
even
no one said no.
Yeah, no one said no type of thing. You can tell. Those don't happen in those. But with Shyamalan, in this film, it doesn't happen. I don't know if maybe because the concept isn't as complicated. It's just ghosts, and Bruce Willis is the ghost, and you know the twist is that he's a ghost, but there is no twist. I mean, he was a ghost, and they tell you in the beginning. You know what I mean? So it's maybe the concept was a little easier to pull off compared to something like After Earth or Lady in the Water or something like that, where it was a little bit too far reach, and he didn't execute very well, you know, because some people like The Village. The Village was okay. It was whatever. I like Devil. Unbreakable, Split I liked. Glass is okay. And then Sixth Sense I loved. So Sixth Sense to me is his best film, probably his debut film.
I think I maybe it's because of the comic book motif on it, but I love Unbreakable. I can watch that. Just Jesus. I mean, like I'll watch that anytime. You know, I probably have to get that on Blu-ray actually, just because it's
that's a must-own film. And like I said, it's a first watch, Sixth Sense, and then my second rank would probably be Unbreakable, because it's again the comic book motif, and that it's not from a comic book, it's original, it's his own thing. Yeah, I think that's really, really cool. So. And I think he pulled it off well, and people bought it, especially at a perfect time when people are kind of fatigued off the comic book stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean they say that, but then they pay for the next one.
Yeah, right. I'm not saying globally. I mean, it's still gonna make the money that it's gonna make. But you know, the people that already didn't like comics are more so now they're annoyed by them. So before they were like, oh, I didn't know comics existed or not existed. They're not in my reality. Now they're always in my reality. Now they annoy me. Now I hate comics. You know what I mean? And so but people that loved comics or were kind of into comics, they've just grown to love it more. You know, the fan base has grown more, especially since when I was a kid, you know, in the 90s, you know, it was a wild west for comic books out there. You know, it just wasn't really
Wildcats.
Yeah, dude, Wildcats, and you know, but in some of those desperations, we got some of the best characters, you know, because they were attempting to look cool, because then the look was really cool. So you'll get someone like Venom or Carnage, or you'll get Spawn. You know what I mean? You get these characters that look super dope.
They look dope. Some of them. And then that's it.
Spawn's awesome. Spawn's dope.
No, I was talking about Carnage.
Oh yeah. Carnage is just, but that's the classic example of desperation, right? When they were trying to get something, and then Carnage grew to be a better character.
Yes, he did. He did with runs like Carnage USA, and I think Axis was a recent one where they turned the villains into good guys, they turned the heroes into bad guys, and Carnage has this moment where he sacrifices himself, and he's like a redneck, and he's saving Spider-Man. He's like, what I want you to do, I want you to go make a statue of me in liberal New York, paint it with the Confederate flag, and play Freebird 24 hours a day. And then he just dies.
Does it? Yeah. No, yeah, Carnage is cool, but yeah, when he came out, I was like, what? Like, who is this? They just made him because they were like, we need this, and he looks cool, you know.
And also, Venom was like an anti-hero at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Venom was, yes.
Another Venom.
Yeah, I mean, then Maximum Carnage and all that stuff happened and all that. But yeah.
Well, let me ask you the movie question.
Do it.
Do you want to see, because for you, you said Sixth Sense was your favorite M. Night film. Do you want him to see go back to horror more exclusively? You know, in the way that Jordan Peele is nowadays, like he's starting out as a feature director, but it seems that he has a very clear love for horror movies and making them. So would you like to see M. Night go in that direction?
No. I don't think he should just become a certain type, like limit himself. If that's what happens, I would like to see him do horror again. He seems to have a good grasp of that.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't want him to stay limited to that. I mean, you know, like we just said, Unbreakable Glass and all that, it's Split. It still has like horror elements in those too, you know. I don't really. I feel like Shyamalan is probably somebody that just directs that way and likes, like, leans on those type of techniques that kind of lend themselves to suspense and horror. So even if he's to make something like a sci-fi, or he makes a superhero movie, they lend themselves to sort of like the techniques that you would see in a horror film, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think he's already kind of like already not limiting himself, but staying within those kind of aspects of horror, you know?
Yeah, it's similar to when you see like a Christopher Nolan, and he does these very grand ideas and he gets them up there, and then you just start thinking what it would be like if he just approached a romantic comedy, you know, like what would that be like? And you know, I feel like with M. Night has such a polarizing filmography that you kind of want him to take it slow until he gets back to those, because we've seen what a lot of those big crazy ideas of M. Night are. So let's just take it slow until you go back in that direction, dude.
That's a good point, right?
Yeah.
Like, get back to what you know best. Maybe make a film or two that, you know, you feel comfortable making, you know, like you can kind of display your strengths, and then kind of go wild, you know. I think someone like that should do that because his catalog is so, like, not good, you know. So I think he should do that. Get back into the groove of making, like, you know, something that people want to see and people are excited to see. Because, you know, After Earth, if you remember, it wasn't even advertised as he was the director. I wouldn't have gone if I knew he was the director. I sat down, and in the intro, when it was like going, then it says like Shyamalan, and I remember looking at, and I was looking at my wife at the time, and I was like, we both looked at each other. As soon as it came out, we didn't even have to discuss. We never discussed, we like Shyamalan, nothing. We never discussed that. We were just sitting there and we're like, oh man, that trailer after looks dope. Oh, okay, awesome. Boom, boom, boom. Never said Shyamalan. We go, we sit down. We're like, all right, cool, you know. We like Will Smith, you know. They're advertising it, sci-fi Will Smith, let's go, you know, I'm down. So we go, and then the movie hadn't even started. It was just the credits, the like intro credits. And then it says Shyamalan. And then we both like, what? Did you know this was a Shyamalan movie? And she was like, no, did you know? And I was like, no, I wouldn't have paid. I was like, no, this movie's going to be bad. Should we walk out?
Red alert.
Yeah. We almost dipped out, and we're like, no, we're being harsh. It was kind of like the same thing with the paranormal activity with me and my homie, where I was like, man, should we walk out right now? No, we're being too harsh. Same deal. We're like, no, we're being too harsh. We can't know it's bad off seeing Shyamalan. Like, come on.
Dude, I'm just imagining you're in the seat, and then his name comes up, and then the camera dollies in and zooms out at the same time.
Yeah. It was like that. It was like, what the? But they never said anything. How did they not say the director's name in the trailer? I mean, it's crazy. I didn't even think about it. I was like, man, the trailer looks so dope. And then
the strings are playing.
Yeah. And we're sitting there, should we refund? Nah, like, we're just being jerks. Like, come on, let's watch. It can't be that bad. Like, even on a bad day, come on. It can't be bad. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. One of the worst. worse than Signs, worse than whatever. Mel Gibson was in Signs. In this one, yeah, in this one, it was just what's his name? Willow, Jaden.
No, Jaden Smith.
Yeah, Jaden. It was just Jaden making like facial expressions, like, you know, like weird. Yeah, like.
Yeah, right. It's like, you're 12, dude. Stop trying to be sexy.
Yeah. And it wasn't even that. It was just more like, what? It's not deep. You're not speaking to anyone. Like, I'm not learning anything about this character. I'm just seeing him in this empty earth. You know what I mean? So it's just a really bad film. You're just sitting there on this after Earth for hours, you know? And the twist is that the animals or the aliens there that hunt you, they sense fear, or I guess the aliens that eat human settlers or human people that we're at war with, they can smell you or know where you are, but if you're scared. And so
is that really a twist? I mean,
yeah, because I guess Will Smith is the legend of all humans, and he like kills, his dad is like this killer. He kills all these aliens, and no one knows how, I guess. But it's because his body doesn't release the chemical hormone.
All right, I'm gonna stop you right there. We're moving.
Yeah, exactly.
Cut that bitch off. What the fuck are you talking about?
Exactly.
That's it. Enough of that shit.
That's what I mean.
Sixth Sense is great. Kid, just watch that shit. All right. The fuck are you talking about? You don't even know what you're saying.
I don't remember. Something like they smell fear, and that's how they kill it.
All right.
Period. That's it. You know.
Yeah, you're done, Daniel.
Yeah, I know. No. But yeah, Sixth Sense definitely on my, like, that and Unbreakable are on a different class if you look at his catalog.
Absolutely, yeah.
Compared to his other films. I think even The Split and Glass, I think Unbreakable and Sixth Sense are just on another level.
People were too hard on Glass, dude. Especially compared to the other shit that M. Night had directed. Like, did you watch it? What this man is capable? No, I mean just in general. Like, do you know what this man is capable of? And you're going to be complaining about Glass? Like, no.
I've seen things. And Glass wasn't near some of his worst stuff, you know?
No, it was actually trying. It actually had a very interesting, conversation about superhero culture and, you know, whether it's right or not, you know, people.
I agree.
Don't know what they want.
The GOAT Podcast is proof you don't have to look any further for movie news, reviews, trailer reactions, or special discussions. Subscribe, get notified about what's going on, and I promise you'll be entertained by our daily content on YouTube. If you want more, we're on Twitter at GOAT Film Podcast, Instagram The GOAT Podcast, and the GOAT Movie Group on Facebook. Get connected with us, see what's happening, and make sure to love it while you're doing so.